We are now ready to begin entering our code. So click Manage on the ribbon and select Add Rule. We will call the rule Head Calcs. You can call it anything you like. Click OK. And you can see here we have a new interface. The snippets column contains snippets of code that you can bring in. Underneath the Model tab, we have our model parameters and our features in the file. You can set the behavior of the rule. You can search and replace, and you can use wizards to create new code. We will just stick with the Model tab for now and begin entering our code. I've gone ahead and entered the code that we will be using for the heads. There are two sections to it. The first part is to make sure all of the features are suppressed, and then based on the type value it will go through each of these if statements and perform the functions in there. First, to suppress all features, let's delete what I've got. What you can do is right-click over top of a feature and capture the current state. That will bring in all the dimensions and whether it's enabled or not. So we don't need any dimensions, so we'll delete those. Now we'll bring in the current state of the diffuser, and again delete the dimensions, the ellipsoidal, the flat, the hemispherical, and finally the toruspherical. Now you can see here, when this runs, it will go through and basically suppress all the head types that we have defined in our previous session. The next thing we want to do is set up a series of if statements that check the type value to determine which head we want to unsuppress. Now that we're finished, we will put in our if statements to determine which head we want to use. This can be simply done by selecting if then statements to bring in. So we'll bring in an if statement, then you want to type in type equals conical. So then what this will do is, if the type is conical, we'll just delete that. It will unsuppress the feature. It sets our knuckle radius factor to 0.154, and these two variables here are used in the part number and the part number description. So in my case, I'm setting the part number prefix to HCA, which definitely stands for head conical type A. And then the description prefix will be conical. For the diffuser, it again unsuppresses the diffuser, sets the dish radius factor to 0.85, sets the knuckle radius factor to 0.154. Our part number prefix becomes HDA, and the part description becomes diffuser. Moving on to the ellipsoidal head, again, this will unsuppress it. Our part number prefix is HEA. The part number description text is ellipsoidal. For the flat one, it's the same thing. HFA for the part number prefix, and PDT equals flat. The hemispherical one's very similar. And now we move on to the toruspherical heads. We have two of them defined in our parameters table, but only one feature is defined. So for either one of them, it will unsuppress the toruspherical revolution that we made. The difference is in the dish radius and the knuckle radius. For the toruspherical 0.1, it sets the dish radius to 1 and the knuckle radius to 0.01. The part number prefix will be HTA for toruspherical head type A, and the description is toruspherical 0.1. For the toruspherical 0.8 type, we set the dish radius factor to 0.8 and the knuckle radius factor to 0.154. The part number prefix becomes HTB, and the part description text is toruspherical 0.8. Once it's processed the series of if statements, it moves on and sets the part number to be a string of the part number prefix, the outside diameter, and the thickness. For the description, it sets the value to head, the part description text, the outside diameter. The CHR 34 puts double quotes after the outside diameter, and the same for the thickness. So this is the code that will simply define our heads. So we'll click OK. And now we will test our code to make sure it works. So click on the Parameters tab and scroll down to our user parameters. You can see right now we are set to ellipsoidal. Let's change to conical. So now you can see it has changed the vessel head to conical based on our iLogic that we've put in. There is an iLogic browser that is enabled if you click Rule Browser, and you can go in here and right click to run the rule, to edit the rule, regenerate the rule, or suppress the rule. You can even delete it if you like. So you can see here that it suppressed all the features, and then because type equaled conical, it unsuppressed the conical feature. Let's try another one. So we go back into parameters, scroll down to user parameters, and let's change it to a toruspherical 0.1 and click Done. So here we have our toruspherical head. That concludes setting up the head iLogic file. We'll now move on to the shell.